Hello everybody, my name is Dylan Raymer. Today I'll introduce you to Open Source Intelligence, or OSINT. I'll explain what it is along with a brief history of OSINT itself, introduce some OSINT tools you can use and how they work, and lastly, show you a little open source intelligence investigation I've done for the purposes of this presentation. So, what is open source intelligence? Well, open source intelligence is the process of utilizing public information to derive certain insights on whatever topic you so please. Now, OSINT relies on information that is legally and ethically collected from accessible sources, hence open source. Some examples of this public information could be newspapers, websites, court documents, social media, and so much more. Open source intelligence has been used for quite some time, although not as long as our last topic, operational security. Governments, militaries, and investigators alike have been using open source intelligence since World War II at least. Analysts review newspapers and radio broadcasts to try to glean any information during World War II. Then, during the Cold War, open source intelligence was refined by the CIA and other agencies who used news reports, public records, and intercepted broadcasts. Now, fast forward a few decades to post 9/11, and open source intelligence has begun to rapidly expand due to the rise of the internet, social media, and digital databases. With this, we see open source intelligence begin to play a key role for not just militaries, but counterterrorism and cybersecurity. Today, open source intelligence is used for several different reasons across many different industries. For example, cybersecurity uses open source intelligence to identify vulnerabilities and track cyber threats. Journalists use OSINT to fact check, conduct investigative journalism, and to expose information. Law enforcement uses it to identify criminal networks and track fugitives. Businesses use it to conduct market research and competitor analysis, and even humanitarians use open source intelligence to help with their disaster response and crisis mapping. These examples are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to who uses open source intelligence and what it is capable of in today's digital world. Since open source intelligence can have such a far reach in today's world, it's important to remember that open source intelligence operates in a legal and transparent manner because there can be some ethical concerns regarding it, especially when it comes to privacy and data protection. Because of this, OSINT analysts must ensure they are following the law related to data protection, respecting privacy rights, and avoid doxing and illegal surveillance. Plus, simply use the information they gather in a responsible way. Now that I feel I've properly introduced you to open source intelligence and warned you about using it in the wrong way, this is what is known as the OSINT framework, as shown in the picture on the screen to the right. The OSINT framework is a structure of collected tools and resources that is used to gather publicly available information from the internet. As mentioned earlier, the open source intelligence framework is widely used by several different professions, including cybersecurity professionals, investigators, journalists, researchers, and many more professions. When you look at the picture on the screen, you should be able to see all the tools and resources that can be used. These tools will help you during an open source intelligence investigation and allow you to collect information from things like social media, public records, search engines, and deep web resources, all of which is available if you look at the picture. To show you all some examples of these tools available in the open source intelligence framework, I'll actually use two of them. Now to start, we're going to use the tool named That's Them, which coincides with Spokeo. As shown in the picture, That's Them is a tool that allows you to run a reverse search on emails. Now in the screenshot shown, you can see I used my personal email in the search. Don't worry, I'm comfortable showing you this because it's my email I use simply for subscriptions and a few online accounts like YouTube. Anyway, I ran the email through That's Them and unfortunately nothing showed up, but it should show you who owns or operates the email you typed in. Now while That's Them completed the search with no results, Spokeo ran a search at the same time in a different tab. I'm not sure if it yielded any results, but if you want to see for yourself, then simply create an account for Spokeo and hit unlock results, and it will show you what accounts this email is used for. Like if I use this email for a dating site or online profile, for example. The second open source intelligence tool I'll show you is Inflect Instagram Viewer. This tool is in the Social Networks tab, then obviously in the Instagram one next. But you can hit other social networks like Twitter, Reddit, or Facebook and find different tools there for those networks themselves. Once you click on Inflect Instagram Viewer, it will take you to their website where you can search Instagram usernames. For this tool, I used our school's account, Old Dominion U. Once it loads, you'll be able to see the Instagram account for Old Dominion and the information available. Now, this tool is no different from Instagram itself. It shows you how many people they follow and how many follow them. You can see their little stories, reels, and other posts as well. Now, remember what I said about respecting privacy rights, though. Well, if I looked up my own Instagram using this tool, I'd be able to see the basic information at the top, such as following and followers. But since my profile is private, you cannot see the posts I have made on my account. Now, I will show you a little OSINT investigation I have done myself on my father, Corey Raymer, with his permission, of course. The first thing I used was his name in a tool called Family Tree Now. What I confirmed was that he was indeed born in March of 1973, and I've been telling his correct age of 52 to those around me. The second tool I used in my investigation is That's Them. Yes, it's the same tool I showed earlier on in the presentation, but this time I used the tool to confirm that I have the right telephone number for him because he doesn't like to answer his phone. So what did I find? Well, I do indeed have the right number. He just doesn't like to answer the thing when I call him. The third part of my investigation was simply looking at my dad's property from satellite imagery. In the image, you can see the house itself as well as the property lines and the names of some neighboring roads that go along the property itself. This is where I began to question some things regarding the ethical concerns of open source intelligence tools. The first tool I used, as well as the second, gave me more information than was asked. It gave me my dad's past and current addresses and information about possible relatives and associates of his. Now, obviously, none of this stuff is exactly private knowledge, and all this information can be found in public records, but if you want to gain a lot of information about somebody and all you have to do is type in a name or phone number, then you can certainly find loads of information about the person without them even knowing or giving permission. With that being said, though, the next part of my investigation was also confirming that his email is still in use. To do this, I used the tool That's Them Again, except I did an email search, and again confirmed that I still have the correct contact information for my dad. This tool makes me realize that you can also protect yourself and the people you love by finding out who is contacting you or them using email and phone number searches. So if you have some random number calling you that you know is an actual person, you can find out who that person is. With that information, you can find more detailed data like court records and other things like that if you're worried about this person having a criminal record or anything of the sort. The third tool I used was NACO County Explorer in the open source intelligence framework. This tool allowed me to simply find some information about the county that me and my dad reside in, Loudoun County. Using this tool, I found some interesting county details about Loudoun County, although only information from the past to the year 2020 is shown on this tool. Using True People Search, the information I looked for next was about my dad's property, except not just satellite imagery. I found more detailed information like the estimated value of his house, square footage, how many acres of land, and when the house was built. This information is nice for those who want to find out about their own property or even property that they're interested in. Also, even though I used an open source intelligence tool, True People Search, to find this information, it is also available on other websites and tools alike. For instance, Zillow is a great tool as well as website that gives you this information and is publicly accessible. For the last part of my investigation, I figured I would do my dad a solid and see if his email was part of any data breaches using the tool Have I Been Pawned. Using this, I found out that his email was actually part of 6 different data breaches. This is a cool tool for those who want to protect both their own and those close to them from having their data leaked and becoming victim to whatever comes next, whether it be cybercrime or even identity theft. After going through my investigation and learning about open source intelligence, I hope you can see how even some of the simplest tools used in an open source intelligence investigation can find some sensitive information without your knowledge or consent. Again, basically all of this information can be found in public records and things of that sort, but even if you just have a name, there is a lot of information a person can access about another person without the other person even knowing about it. That's where it is important to remember that open source intelligence is about legally using public information to gather more details and not just simply using it for bad. But with that, this completes my video on open source intelligence. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you luck on any investigations you conduct yourself. Goodbye.